All right, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Update My 1000 Days Challenge. This is day 552, so let's get things started. All right, so first and foremost, in terms of balance, why it remains the same, I mentioned I'm not in any trade right now. In terms of experimental trade setup. So for yesterday itself, so actually I did enter a couple of new short setup in terms of main trading account setup, and that's actually linked to what I mentioned yesterday itself. So if you recall yesterday, I was saying that if there's a potential break below this 50 simple moving average and this downslope trend line itself, which it happens on this 4-hour chart, along with volume confirmation, I enter a short. Based on this, I did actually enter a little bit lower or less than ideal because I was a little bit late to the trade itself. On the 4-hour close, I didn't notice it, and I enter a short setup based on this. So definitely in terms of stop loss wise, I play this above this swing high. So let's see how things goes. Definitely the sell pressure isn't as high as it seems. So that's definitely a good thing in terms of long-term wise. But of course, short-term, if it does bounce and close above this trend line itself, I could be closing a little bit earlier than this stop loss. But I'm just putting here in case there's a spike up and then a close below this trend line itself, in which case I'll be staying into this trade short setup itself. So I do lean towards further short side momentum. We do find support over here. I could potentially be closing 50% of the trade. So that is how my trading plan is for this current setup itself. All right, and over in terms of US market, why nothing to be too much of a concern about. Even though we did actually continue towards the upside over here, but right now we're actually closing, actually starting below it. So definitely some sort of bearish momentum in terms of near-term wise. There's something to bear in mind. So because we actually climbed too strongly upside and with decreasing momentum itself, you can see the candlestick actually decreasing in terms of the volatility or the range of the candlestick itself. So definitely some sort of pullback and retracement is actually, to me, relatively healthy in that sense. So same thing over here, you see Nasdaq, we actually closed above it, but we're actually a red hammer candlestick, and right now we actually started below it, and now we're actually pushing towards the upside once again. So nothing to be too much of a concern about. Definitely a second or a third try to close above it will actually be a much more confirmation of a continuation towards the upside itself. All right, and then for Asia, definitely like I mentioned, things definitely don't look to be good because we are staying near the critical support region for extended period of time, something you do not want to if you're looking for a much stronger bounce in that sense. Yeah, but overall, like what I mentioned, as long as you do not close below that, I still do not have a shift in terms of bearish momentum, in terms of weekly structure and above. And then for KBAR itself, definitely leaning towards much further bearish momentum because we are really getting very weakly at the 20 exponential moving average on the daily chart itself, if we're not finding strength. But bearing in mind that as long as we do stay at this critical support region itself, I would still say there's not a technical uncharted territory just yet. But I do have to say, admit that it does lead towards further bearish momentum, likely in this particular scenario itself, when you're looking at pure price action perspective, because we are accumulating at a very weak support, critical support region itself, and not much buyers is rushing in, which is definitely a sign of concern. Right, and then finally for Bitcoin itself, we do see this strong rejection over here. Yesterday, bearish engulfing candlestick on the daily chart, which actually wipes up almost 2-day worth or even 4-day worth of bullish candlestick in the upside. So definitely something to be concerned about. So as long as we do form a lower low over here, tentatively we could still go towards the higher high, but do be cautious that we could also see a very strong sell-off towards the 20,000 region itself, in which case I have this short setup that I'm perfectly primed to actually capitalize on this short drop itself. Otherwise, that's more or less about it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop by your comments below, or you can take a pause to read about it. So basically, this is my current setup at 34.5K. I would consider taking 50% profits if and only if I do see strong support coming in, like a nice hammer candlestick itself. If that does not happen, I'll definitely just hold off and see how far I can do the trading stop loss, and we'll perhaps use a 20 exponential moving average on the 4-hour chart as a nice trading stop loss in that scenario. All right, otherwise, that's more or less about it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop by your comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.